Hello there, I'm Nita Rose, and in this video we are going to talk about Rave Master, Volume 13, Chapters 98 through 105. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to announce the improvement of the artwork, how the creator Hiramashita got better with his drawing as time and the series went on. Just take a look at Haru from the first chapter compared to him in this one. You see the improvement in the paper itself. It shows the hard work of the creator and how far he has come since the first manga. And now let us get started on this volume. We first start off with Ruby getting upset because he tries everything from the book to use this magic, and calls Seahart a liar after telling him that he has magic inside him. Let gives him some encouragement words about not giving up, and then suddenly Ellie starts walking in with a towel around her as she was told by Griff that she could get sick if she dresses up too quickly. Oh, Ellie. Young, innocent Dempsey Ellie. Girl, you got a lot to learn. It was so obvious that little jiggly pervert wanted to see you naked. Speaking of that pervert, here he is giving up all kinds of different candies to Plue as Ellie comes along and notices Haru swinging a sword around. Meanwhile, at the Demon Card headquarters, Reina is having an argument with Lucia about what he did to the men within the castle and is concerned about them. But Lucia sees them nothing more than weaklings, which frightens Reina as Lucia plans to revive the Demon Cards once again. He invited a former Empire general as the new member of the Six named Deep Snow, who turned out to be a spy that worked for the king, and now he's working for Lucia. He announces his plan of attack to find the Shadow Stone, and as he walks out, he thinks about his father being a great man and a true leader of the Supreme King. Meanwhile, at the Empire base, there are men that were attacked, and one of the other generals learned that Deep Snow was a spy and the traitor. Therefore, he can't let him live as he knows too much. He also just learned that the Demon Cards make an alliance with other groups of evil, which brings fear in the general's eyes. He decided to make his way to the location where Lucia will attack, and might see the Rave Master, who they believe is the Small Hope. Haru keeps swinging his sword back and forth until he finally collapses, realizing that he can't beat Lucia this way, but he is willing to do whatever it takes to stop him. Now they're having a celebration for Lucia's coronation for becoming king of his kingdom. He gave a speech that allowed his men to follow him towards his right as king. Then he sent the Demon Card members to the island where the two remaining Shadow Stones are located. Meanwhile, Haru and the others seem to crash land on the island of Memini. Musica leaves his team behind to fix a repair on the ship while he, Haru, and the others go exploring the island. They ended up finding a cave with a sign with a different language similar to Syphonia language. Ellie thought she can read as she did before, but apparently she couldn't read these languages. The crew tries to find another way around the mountains, while Haru decided to go through the cave as the others start to follow. Haru feels the wind blowing from the cave and convinced the crew that this is the shortest way to the rave, and they all decide to join him. The sign translated to dark being late, and then one of the knights from 50 years ago has been revealed. Now that we got to the 100th chapter of the series, we get an interesting intro page before the cover. We see Rachel Valentine, who is surprisingly in chains, and says something about the endless is coming near. And then after the cover page, we see Haru waking up as it was all a dream. And then he noticed that the woman looks like Ellie, but he's not sure who she is. And then he remembered the word endless. And then he knows that Plue has a piece of on his head. Ruby tricked him into grabbing it, telling him it's just a shell, but it turned out to be a real thing, as it also turned out to be a prank. Okay, that's disgusting. Poor Haru. The shout and scream woke everybody up as they also mentioned that they've been in that cave for 3 days. Haru wants to wash his hands, and Griff mentioned that he found a spring, and so Haru ran towards it despite the warning about the water being black. Haru and Plue found the spring and decided to jump right in. Ellie followed after them, and then suddenly Haru started attacking her out of the blue, trying to strip her down. But then Musica kicked him off of her, and then suddenly Haru starts saying nasty things about him and left. Even Plue's sudden change of attitude and appearance start to attack little Griff. Okay, we know this isn't them. There must be something in that spring that made them act this way. Actually, it turned out to be their evil doppelgangers that was created from the Black Spring as the real Haru and Plue managed to get themselves out of the water and attack their doppelgangers. Let explains the origin about the lake and what it does to people after they jump in, which creates the evil side of that person. Musica and Ellie gave Haru a piece of their mind. Geez guys, I know what he did and said was wrong, but But that was the evil clone of him, and you want to take out the real one? But I guess it doesn't matter because that didn't stop them. They continue on through the cave until Haru started to get a splitting headache, and all of a sudden he fainted. And the next thing we see is Reisha, who seemed to be on trial for some kind of crime that she committed, and wandered endlessly in the past 20,000 years and wherever she's at, the skies, I guess. It is also stated that even though only 50 years has passed, but for her it's been 20,000 years. The judge wanted her to state her crime, but she's unable to speak, and so her freedom was not granted, and sent back to 20,000 years of isolation. Next, we see Ellie looking down at Haru while waking up. But it's pretty strange though, and it makes me curious. What kind of crime did Reisha do to get that kind of punishment? It also turns out that Haru is not the only one that had that dream. It appears that Lucia had it as well. Now, I can understand why Haru had that dream because of his connection to Reisha and the Etherion due to him being the Rave Master. But why did Lucia have the same dream when he's more connected to Sinclair than Reisha, since he is the Shadowstone Master? I don't know, maybe I should stop asking questions and just move on to the next chapter. The crew are worried about Haru, but he told them that he is fine, and they continue on into the cave, as Haru is going with his feelings into finding the Rave. But then the cave suddenly started to shift, and the crew is hanging onto the side of the rocks, while they notice the black waters underneath them. Blue almost fell in, but Haru managed to catch him as Musica managed to catch them with his chain. Haru noticed the water rising up and told everybody to start climbing. But once Musica, Let, and Ellie made their way to the top, they are interrupted by this monster. They can't catch a break, can they? Once the monster attacked, Ellie slipped and started to fall into the water. Haru was gonna go catch her, but then he misses. Blue managed to catch her, and Haru managed to catch them. But then they discover that the water that they're seeing right now isn't from the spring. It's completely different. It's made out of acid since they see a rock melt, and things get worse when Ellie's shoes start to slip off. Musica and Let are dealing with the monsters, and Ellie managed to slip away, and Haru came after her as they both started to fall. They both fell into the black water, which got everybody thinking that they're dead. But Musica noticed a black hole within the water, and he gets the idea that they're still alive. And so he jumps into the monster's mouth and uses chains to pull them out, as it turns out that the hole was created by Haru, and uses blue crimson to slash the monster, freeing Let from its grasp. Everybody started climbing up, and Ellie had to be carried by Musica because her feet still hurt. Although Haru wanted to carry her, but Musica got to her first. The monster started regenerating as Let was about to attack it again, but Haru stops him and figures it's just hungry, and feeds them all the food they have, much to Musica's delight. The monster is now happy and leaves, allowing the crew to move forward, as Musica starts scolding Haru about their food. Well, honestly can't blame him because that's the food that they need to survive in the cave. Honestly, I'd be pissed off too. Meanwhile, on Mamimi Island, there is the headquarters of the Dory clan, and here is the reveal of their master, Pumpkin Dory, along with the leader of the Ogami. Both leaders are the holders of the two remaining Shadow Stones. Now with Haru and the others, as they all manage to find the exit of the cave, and we, the audience, spotted an unknown figure hiding behind a rock, spying on them. Haru changes into his swimsuit and dives into the spring to catch a big fish for dinner, while Ellie decided to take a bath on the other side. Yeah, we all know how this is gonna turn out. Haru finds a giant fish stuck in a small cave and helps it get unstuck, and then discover that he actually saved the mermaid. They both freak out. Haru swims to the surface and accidentally swims to the place where Ellie is bathing. Well, that didn't take very long. After Haru gets bumped in the head by Ellie, he tells the others about the mermaid, but Musica wasn't having it and doesn't care if it's a mermaid or not because to him, it's food. But then suddenly the mermaid revealed herself and wanted to thank Haru for helping her, as she becomes grateful towards Haru and seemed to become attracted to him, as Ellie seemed to have noticed. Oh, is that little Miss Ellie getting jealous? Ellie separated the two until her stomach started to growl, realizing they haven't eaten anything yet, so the mermaid had decided to invite them over to her home for a feast. The mermaid introduced herself as Syria, and she came from a village from under the sea known as Melstella. Syria cast a spell on the crew, allowing them to breathe underwater. Syria seemed to get herself more attached to Haru, making Ellie jealous, and once they made it to the village, Syria sees her sister sitting on the edge of the rock, back, looking like she's been through some kind of trauma. Saria noticed but then dismissed it as she remembered about the necklace that she had promised to get back to her. But then the sister slapped it away and mentioned the tragedy that came upon their village, to Saria's surprise and horror expression. Within her destroyed home, Saria demands to get answers from her sister, but then the sister suddenly fallen and seems to now notice Saria and welcome her home as Let catches her. They decide to head over to Saria's house, which is still intact by the look of it, and Saria wanted to check out the rest of the village. Haru wanted to go with her, but she denies it as she sees it as a mermaid problem and doesn't want to involve humans. They're all wondering what happened to the village, and Haru wants to find a way to help them, but Let insisted that they don't get involved. But the conversation continues on until they mention the Rave Master, which Saria overheard. Wow, she wasn't gone for very long. She then panics and bows her head towards him for her rudeness as she felt ashamed. Haru doesn't want her to feel bad about herself and have her talk to him normally. Muska then asks Saria about what happened to the rest of the village, and she claims that there's no one left until her sister came around and told them that they were destroyed by Oni. The mermaids were kidnapped from their village and used their magic for a weapon, and after explaining everything to them, Haru decided to save the mermaids, but the sister believed that it's impossible. But Haru plans to try anyway and gives out his speech of being the world's hope, and everyone in his crew is with him. While Haru swings his sword around in training, the other comes up with a plan of attack and begin preparations. And while Plu was kind enough to search for the necklace that the sister threw away after Saria wanted to give to her, the sister apologizes to her as Saria decided to join Haru and the others to save the other mermaids. Here we see the origami hideouts where we see the members bitching at each other about this and that the boss will kill them, the boss will not kill them, and you know what, I don't even care, so I'm just gonna move on to the mermaids. Here we see the mermaids drain up most of their magic and begging for mercy, but of course the son of doesn't give a and just drains their energy anyway. Meanwhile, Haru and the others are swimming their way towards the hideout. Ellie asked Saria about magic and also asked her about the Etherion, as learned a little bit more about it, and that magic can drain your life. But along the way, the crew runs into members of Oni as the group try to fight them off, but then quickly learn that their weapons are useless underwater and that their movements are unstable. So Saria used whatever little magic she has, allowing them to move freely, giving them a fighting chance. They succeeded but causes Saria to fall as Haru catches her, and they are at a disadvantage once again as they are surrounded by the army at the end of the volume. And that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out my other parts on TikTok, and don't forget to look me on Discord and X. And I'll see you all next time. Nita Rose out.